Welcome back. This week it's all about the SEMA build. We got a lot more work done. We also ran into a bit of a hiccup that we're going to tell you about. Students are back for their first full week, so next week you're going to see them working on a couple of other projects that we didn't quite get finished at the end of last year. We're going to wrap up that Suburban. We've got a little bit of work to do on the 71 Challenger Super B, and we're going to get back to work on that Fox Body project. Thanks for tuning in. The driver's side rear isn't quite as in bad a shape as the passenger side was, but you can see there's still a lot of filler and rust here. We're going to get this cut out where you see the black marks. Then we're going to make a patch and get it welded in, and then we'll get the left side quarter fender welded on.
With the welds ground down, we're adding body filler to smooth it out.
In an earlier episode, we shared with you a repair that was done on the car on the passenger side. There was lead put in here along with body filler. We ground out a lot of the body filler and some of the lead as well and did the repair from the back side, so it's not as much there as it was before. But the solder joint here at the sail panel, this is factory. This is how the roof would have been put onto the body, and there's actually a little divot here. And that is original. These were never repaired from the factory correctly. They just put the bodies together on them, smoothed them out, and then they painted directly over them. Most people, almost everyone, when they make repairs or they're repainting the entire car, they will fill this in, make it nice and smooth so the sail panel is smooth to the rest of the car. You can tell if a car has been redone by feeling the sail panel to see if there's a divot there. So if someone tells you find a car in a barn or sitting out in a field and they say that's original paint, if you run your hand across that and you can feel the divot, it's not likely, or it's likely that it is the original paint. If it's nice and smooth, someone has clearly done a repair. Some of the more tedious work is all the hand sanding that needs to be done where the air sanders won't reach.
I'm removing the wiper regulators.
Removing all of these types of components from the body is going to make for a much cleaner car when it's done. One of the things we need to do to get the shell ready for primers to get the firewall cleaned up, so that's going to entail pulling the vacuum lines and the wiring harness through it. Since we're going to be replacing the wiring harness and the vacuum lines anyway, we're going to go ahead and get everything disconnected from inside the car and get it pulled loose so we can clean everything up. You remember we took the reverse lights out of the car because this car didn't originally come with them, but it also didn't come with turn signals either. Someone had added a turn signal switch to it. As you can tell by the color-coded wire, this is not original for 1948, and then the inline fuse. So we're going to take all this out. This is the turn signal flasher. We've already taken the switch off the steering column, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of all of this. If the new owner wants to put turn signals in it, he can add that later, but we're going to take this out and clean this up the way it was originally.
I'm taking out the heater core and blower fan box.
Here they're taking out the clips that hold in the firewall pad.
I'm removing the door latches.
Again, this will make for a much cleaner job overall. Here Alejandro is welding on the driver's side fender quarter. Every inch of the body is sanded in preparation for primer. With the quarter welded, it's time to grind it down and add filler. Knowing that we've only got a couple of months to get this car ready for SEMA, we've run into a major stumbling block. In an earlier episode, we told you we were going to get rid of most of the stainless around the car to clean it up, but we wanted to maintain the lower rocker moldings. Now we've got rock guards coming for the front part of the rear fenders, but these segments are not available. In fact, the only couple that I could find online were in pretty bad shape, and we have to make those repairs, and we don't have time for that. So when the kids come in the morning, I'm going to have them remove this segment of the rocker, and we're going to do some experimenting and see if we can get creative and still make this part of the car look good. We've got the door duct taped on to kind of hold it in place so we're not standing in its way, and we had the fender on as well. Kind of get an idea of what we're doing here. Piece on the floor there was originally part of the rocker. As I said, since we don't have the stainless to go on it, we've got to come up with something creative to cover all of that up. The options are to fill those in and smooth it out with body filler, and then add that piece back to wrap it and make it smooth as well. But our bigger problem is in trying to make this work the way we want it to work is the fender actually drops below that part of the door, as you can see in this picture. And we're not sure if we're going to be cutting the fender off or figuring out if we're going to add to that. How would you like to have to get up every morning and kickstart your equipment before you could go to work? Like me, Billy has some of the cooler equipment at the shows. He just has a lot more of it than I did. I always enjoy seeing each year what he's been working on and what he brings out. Next time on Bulldog Builds, we'll have more of the bodywork done on our 41 SEMA project. On the 71 Super B, we'll get the rest of that work finished up. And there's an auction coming up in a couple of weeks that I plan to be at, and I'm going to give you some information about it next time. See you next week.